Recording. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. Good to go. Wow, we actually got quite a bit of people in today. That's awesome. That's exciting. All right, let's dive into it. Okay, so where is this property at? Let me see. We'll do two. This one I haven't looked at yet. This was sent to me by a chick named Stephanie. This apparently is her first deal she's working. Oh, man. It looks like it's... I don't know if that's on market or off market. That's kind of weird, but it is listed for $289 right now. Let me bring this over here so y'all can check it out because this is a hideous looking property. There it is. So I've never seen anybody bring a property to me from Bigger Pockets ever. So this is a first. We got quite a bit of information though. All the photos are here, walkthrough video, comps. That's pretty neat. I didn't know you could do this on Bigger Pockets. They really kind of are, I guess, are stepping up their game. But it's in Springtown. I don't even know where that's at. I'm thinking it's closer to Houston, so we're just gonna throw this in for Pelio.
Springtown is west of Fort Worth.
West of Fort Worth. Okay, so we might have it on on MLS. Let's check it out. Pull the tax. Realist. There we go. Okay, so for anybody that is joining, and this is the first time you've seen me run comps. If y'all haven't seen any of the previous YouTube videos or the previous training sessions, there's two things I always want to look at and kind of have open. One is the MLS here, and then also public tax record here as well. Usually I kind of have them side by side. So it'll look something like this. I don't need that all to work just like that. So if you don't have MLS access, don't worry. Propelio is a really great tool. It's just as pretty much it's just as accurate as MLS. So I highly suggest Propelio for the state of Texas 100%. Now let's dive into it. So let's check it out. Okay. All right. So we only got one match in the last 365 days. That's not good at all. Now I want to kind of like look at the map and see where the property is located, the subject property is, and where that comparable property is located as well.
Hey, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. What's up?
Is it me or can you guys also see Darian's screen? Yeah, I can't see it.
Okay, so if you can't see it, go to the top right corner of the screen you're on. You should see a view.
I think I see it now.
Click on call or click on view and then press speaker view.
Oh wait. When I do a speaker, I see like your avatar or.
Let's see. Hold on.
Content view. When I do content view, I see everybody, and I see you clicking around. So maybe that's the one.
Is it together mode? Together mode? Not together mode.
One he had it on, or the one he was saying.
Yeah, I see your screen now. All right.
Definitely. Okay. All right. So you see it? Do you see the screen though?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome.
By the way, Springtown is a little BFE town.
Bumfuck Egypt?
Yep.
Gotcha.
A lot of meth and trailers out there.
It's a blink town.
Okay. Let me all right, cool. So here we go. Yeah, that is, and it's not even in Springtown. It's actually
not.
Agnes. It's all the way in Agnes. I love that. That's incredible. So ideally, a deal like this, I would 100% say like stay away from it because it's just in a super rural area, and the last thing you want to do is lock up the deal that's in a rural area like this where population is probably less than 15,000 people, because you're going to have a very small pool of investors who are actually going to be willing and wanting to pick up a property in the middle of BFE. And the reason for it is there's no population growth, there's no economic growth, there's no employment growth. And those are things, then again, this kind of ties back into the session that we had on Tuesday, which was choosing your markets. These are things that you want to look for, right? So when you look at those three key items, population growth, economic growth, and employment, the employment rate, it's all going to be extremely low for a little ass town like this, right? You do not want to get a property in a super duper tiny town because it's not going to go anywhere. If it's an absolute desperate situation and the seller just like really, really needs help, the best thing you can honestly do is really get it pennies on the dollar and do an ovation, put it on MLS, and let the MLS do its thing. That's going to be the best case scenario for something like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't even touch it, and I really don't see a point in running comps on it because there's only one and it's pending. So, I mean, we'll look at it though, I guess. Is it a barn dough? Yeah, it's a barn dough. It's pretty. It's nice. Super nice. It's a brand new build, so right off the bat, not comparable because that's a new build, and this house here is built in 2008. So there's no comparable properties in this area. This is a huge dud. So let's not waste any more time on this. I'll let Stephanie know that the lead is no bueno. Now I had another one sent over to me by a gentleman. Let me see here. Where's it at? This one is in Weatherford. He had ARV at 275, 285. He'll actually be giving me a call here around 7-ish. We're going to see if I can lock this one up with a non-exclusive joint venture because the numbers don't work for us to buy. But we might be able to help him out. So we'll see. Let's take a look. Okay, clear map, cool beans. All right. Sweet. So now we got 5 matches right here. We got 5 matches in the last year. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. There's not much information up here, but it is a 3-2, 1,200 square feet, built in 79. So now we want to see where the property is located at. It's in a little kind of cookie cutter, small town kind of vibe. I mean, it is Weatherford, so it is, for the most part, a pretty small town. But it's definitely bigger than Agnes, that's for sure. So anything like this, for the most part, these houses are going to be built very similar. The only thing that's going to be really different are the properties that were torn down or infill lots that were developed. So it's all right to kind of come out a little bit and find some stuff in this little area here as well, because it will be pretty relatable as far as construction type goes. I just wouldn't cross Main Street. That's the only big caveat. So we can take anything over here and see what we find. All right, so we got a good amount of activity. This property, get rid of that here. Now we want to figure out, what does the property look like? Why is this important? It's important to understand how the property looks as far as the exterior condition, or the exterior, not just the condition, but the overall construction type. So like this is all veneer, right? Veneer is another fancy way to say brick. It's just brick. It's a brick build. Would you compare a brick build to this? Probably not. I mean, you could, but it's not going to be super accurate. So if you can find brick comps, stick to brick comps. But comparing brick to like paneling or soffit and stuff like that, it's just not going to be very, very accurate. So looking at it from a street view, we can tell that it's going to need gutters. It's going to need a new roof for the most part. The front yard is pretty well managed, like pretty well kept. And usually you can tell quite a bit about the interior and how the overall interior is kept based off of the street view images. So for the most part, it seems like they're probably not going to take very good care of the high ticket items such as the roof, foundation, HVAC, water heater, all that good stuff. But they probably at least have it a little bit clean on the inside. So I'm pretty sure there are carpets in here. Maybe pretty well vacuumed. So, and they got a sign for solicitors. That's awesome. Okay, so also another thing to check is the garage. Is the garage converted? In this case, the garage is not converted, and that's good. But you want to take that in consideration and remember that as well. So when you're running your comps, let me see, here we go. When you're running your comps, you want to make sure that the comps you're comparing your subject property to don't have garage conversions, and vice versa. If all you see in the area are properties that have garage conversions, well, you might want to convert the garage because that's how you're going to get the best ARV, like true ARV to that particular area. So it kind of goes both ways. In that area, do you have garage conversions? If so, plan to convert the garage. It's an extra rehab expense. If there aren't any garage conversions and your garage is converted, well, your best case for the end buyer, for that investor, when they flip it, is to revert that garage from a room back to a garage. And you want to include that conversion into your estimated rehab as well, because it will be important. So now we got an idea as to the exterior construction and the condition. Let's go ahead and start running comps on this. Okay, so we know it's 1,200 square feet, built 79. It doesn't say it up here or over here, but it is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So we want to look for things that are 3.2s, built close to 79. These aren't going to work because they're brand new builds. You got 85, you got 83. We can look at these. So this one right here, it's 1,400 square feet. It's a little bit bigger by about 200 square feet, actually 198 square feet bigger. That's pretty comparable. It's comparable because it's similar to the size. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, and it's really not that much newer. So we can use that as a comp. Most agents and most realtors will try to stay within a 5-year difference. So when they look at 1979, they want to run their comps between 1974 to 1984. So they wouldn't consider this. But I think that's a big mistake. It's only a year different. It's really not going to hurt anything. Now, if you went past 10-year differences, which is like 1989 and 1969, that's a 20-year gap. So I definitely wouldn't do that. But just take it kind of with a grain of salt. But don't be shy and not look at this as a comp, because it is a comp, potentially a comp. Now we need to see what condition this property is in. So exterior construction is totally different. It's paneling. It's not brick, but let's see what it looks like. It's probably going to be a flip because it looks pretty on the exterior, and you got professional photos as well. It's definitely a flip property. This is an ARV comp. An ARV comp is essentially a comp that this is the end goal we want to have in mind when we do a flip, right? So when you're looking at this from the standpoint of a wholesaler, this is the end goal a flipper or a flip investor is going to want to do, or going to want to have, okay? Because it's a beautiful home. They did a really great job. Yeah. It's all uniform. There's no mixed matches. It's uniform. It looks really good. They did a good job. Okay, so it would be a true ARV comp, but because of the exterior construction, I wouldn't consider it true just yet. And it also sat on market for 108 days. It sold back in January, but it sat for 108 days. So that kind of lets me know that properties in this area are sitting a lot longer, because that's a very pretty house. So what it means for us as the end investor or the flipper or even the wholesaler is it lets us know that we need to be very conservative when running our ARV, because that is a daunting number for any end investor. Why? Because that's more holding costs that investor is going to have to pay. That's why. Let's see. So we got another one here. This is a 4.2, 71 days, 1,300 square feet. Let's check it out. It is a 4.2, so not too heavy on it. It's brick as well. Garage is converted. Let's see what it looks like.
Hey, Darian.
Yeah.
Can you also do some of this on Propelio too?
Yeah.
So they
Yes,
can see.
And so they did, like, this is nice. They did a good job. I definitely would have put in different cabinets for sure. I can't tell if these are original cabinets that are investor specials where they just painted over everything, or not. That's kind of the tricky part. Yeah, I'm not sure if these are brand new or if they're not. But I would have definitely probably done different cabinets. I think they're new. They look new. Okay. Countertop doesn't look too bad. That's a pretty basic sink. So overall, it looks like they just kind of did a minimum. 2 different floor types. You want to note that too, because that is important to take notes of. Looks like they put work into it, but very minimal. Like, this should not be in there. This light shouldn't be in there. Those are both outdated. At least they're uniform throughout the house, but they're just not very, really, they're just not appealing to the eye. They're pretty basic. Pretty basic. Restroom looks fine. For the most part, I mean, there's uniformity throughout the house, so that looks good. Brand new water heater. I mean, it's not bad. It's not terrible. They did a pretty decent job, pretty good job on it. Yeah, it's just a kind of a basic flip. So, and this one closed yesterday. Listed at 266.9, so pretty much 267. Closed at 264. They dropped it down to 259, and they sold it $5,000 above asking price. That's not too bad, but the seller did pay $10,000 in concessions. Man,
That's rough.
That is rough.
Can
And
you
it's
explain what concessions is for everybody?
concessions is basically like, I was gonna say a refund. It's not a refund. It's like a credit. You're basically crediting the buyer X amount of money. So if you're doing $7,500 concessions, you're giving the buyer $7,500. That's the easiest way to explain it, like Barney style. It's just like a credit.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's not a bad property. It is comparable as far as the bricks go, but it's a 4-2. So we can take into consideration, we just got to be cognizant of that. We can't expect our subject property to get the full 264 because this does have one extra bath or one extra bedroom. But at the same time, that garage is converted and ours is not. So that's also something you want to think of as well. We got 1309. 2008. Can't do it. Let's see what else we got. What else do we got? Nope, can't do that one. 67. Nope. 75 is 842. 23 days on market. It's a 2-1, 215. Curious to see what this looks like. Okay, so this is probably a renovation as well. It has the garage, so the garage isn't converted. Actually, it's probably not going to be right now. Nope, this is probably going to be as is. Yep. Okay, so this is a really, it's just a property that's been well maintained. That's all it is. This isn't This is not an investment property. This was not flipped by a rehabber. It's just a property that's been updated over X amount of years and well maintained. That's all it is. And it's only 800 square feet, and it sold for $215 back in August. So this lets me know for sure we can definitely get more than $215, 100% by a stretch, I would say, honestly. Okay, now we want to look at the actives and pendings. Nothing here, nothing else is really going to be worth looking at because there's a big gap between the 260 ranges and that 215. So anything here pretty much lets me know that it's all going to be either all original stuff or it's going to be in piss poor condition. So these prices aren't really something that I would utilize as a comp. But if you don't have stuff, like if you don't have any comps here, we got a lot of sold properties and they were in like terrible, terrible condition, it lets you know what an investor would actually pick that property up for. So, for example, let's look at it's kind of a tangent, but let's look at it. What does this one look like? 1515 North Elm Street. Okay. Yeah, so this is hideous. Yeah. Okay. So this would definitely be an investment property for sure. If we go down to the financing, let's see what kind of buyer we had on this. That's unfortunate. This was a conventional buyer, so this is a traditional buyer. And they bought it for Bought it for $139. So worst case scenario, if we had a property in that condition, we can lock it up for, let's say, $110, and I guess potentially try to sell it for $139. So it kind of lets you know where people are buying in at, so you can consider it that way. But when you're running comps, don't get overwhelmed. Just find the ones that are ARV comps and run with those. Now, going into the pending, well, this is lovely. I love the year built. That's great. See, we got 26 days on market. Apparently, it's one bath. Interesting. I'm not even. What the hell is this?
New construction.
5,000 square foot property with a home that needs TLC. 780 square foot home located. Okay, so basically, this is actually a really good example. So let's take this. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. All right. So yeah, that is a terrible looking property. Pretty bad. Needs a lot of work. Driveway needs work. Fencing needs work. Landscaping needs work. The entire house needs work, right? So this is a big investment property for sure. So when we go back into it, listed at $99,000, it's been sitting on the market for 26 days. So for something like this, what this lets us know is that it's probably not going to sell for 99 grand. Let's just go ahead and say 80. Or let's say 70. I'd rather be conservative. Basically, if an investor is picking a property up, like if somebody's picking this property up for 70 grand, if we had a property similar to it, that lets us know, like, hey, even though we don't have any sold comps, we got somebody that just bought this property for 70,000. So if we can get it locked up for 55, 60, we have a chance of reaching out to this guy and see if we could pitch him the deal, and he might buy it. So that's something to consider as well when you're looking at kind of what to acquire a property at if you don't have sold comps. So that's something to kind of take in consideration. Okay, let's see. So 99, you got a 2-1. This is on Elm. Here we go. All right, so this is probably a flipped property as well. Yeah. It's flipped. Pretty property. Only downside is it has mini splits and not actual not like an actual HVAC. Mini splits are great for the most part. I lived with one for like 2 years in Afghanistan. They're amazing, but HVAC's always better. I guess they ran out of a budget. I don't really know. Interesting. And there's an outhouse. That's probably not an outhouse, y'all. I'm just making jokes, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. How many days has it been sitting? It's been sitting for 83 days. So it's listed too high. It's listed at 192.5 and it's only 938 square feet. So yeah, that's kind of a tough one. Again, just lets us know that the market over here is going relatively slow. This is 67 days on market, 125,000. Oof. Yeah, I can tell you now that ain't gonna sell. Definitely not gonna sell for 125. You can see water damage right here. So that's no bueno. Yeah, that ain't going anywhere. Oh well, that's unfortunate. Now the big question is okay, well, now that we have all this information, what are we looking at for ARV? We have two solid comps. You've got one that is a brick build at 264 with the extra bed, lower days on market, garage is converted. Then you got this 3.2 that sold 4K higher, sat a little bit longer, but it's also paneling, not brick. So looking at both of these and the days on market, our property is smaller than both because ours is 1,200, 1,250. So it is smaller than both. But we also do have a garage, and this one doesn't. And chances of them getting this 4.2 is because it's a garage conversion. So if we were to convert our garage to a 4.2, then yeah, we'd be around potentially the 264 range for sure. But even without the garage conversion, because there's not a lot of conversions for the ARV comps for the most part, I would probably put this anywhere from 255, 260. That's kind of where I'd put it at. One, because our property is smaller. Even with the without the garage conversion, which is probably going to make sense not to convert it. So it is smaller. It's also got high days on market in this area in general. Even these new builds are sitting. So you want to take that in consideration as well. And yeah, I don't see our subject property getting more than 260 really. I think 260 is on the high end. Conservative, I'd say 255. So let's stick to 255. So now that we have an ARV of 255, what do we offer? That's the next question. Well, you have to have an idea as to what the estimated repairs are going to be. And luckily for everybody here, I happen to have photos. Okay, so we're going to run through this real quick, take a look at it. That's definitely worse than Google Street View for sure. That is terrible. So right off the bat, we're going to need a new roof. Definitely going to need a new roof and gutters. I guess they let go of the landscaping because the landscaping is pretty bad too. Definitely has foundation issues for sure. This is not the foundation. This is just the driveway, but it lets us know even the cracks in the driveway like this show us that there have been shifting or that the property has shifted. So we can go ahead and probably like really just plan for foundation problems. So that's something to take into consideration as well. So what is the cost for a roof for this square foot and foundation? A roof for this square foot is about maybe about $7,000. Foundation, if you're doing, let's say 34, 35 piers, you're looking at maybe $9,500. So right off the bat, we're looking at about $16,000 just off of these two high ticket items. Now let's keep going. Okay. They're very detailed with these photos. Okay, so you got some, it pulls. That's something you want to think of too. All right. So what I'm looking for in this photo particularly is cracks right down this little area. So when you walk a property, when you're walking the exterior, you'll have this around the windows. If you follow the veneer, the cement here, you'll see cracks, sometimes even like in the brick itself. And that just lets you know that there is foundation activity going on with the property. And it's very common to see it here. You also have what's called a corner pop. You can't see it over here because it's covered. But if I can see it, I'll show y'all. The carpet needs to go. This needs to go. The walls need to be repainted. Windows are probably going to need to be replaced because they're probably original. Yeah. The little stuff like this is something you want to look at. The little socket covers. Even here too, you want to look at those as well because those are probably going to have to go. Flooring of the kitchen has to go. The entire kitchen needs to be remodeled. And a kitchen this size for a remodel, a good remodel, is going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 grand. Windows will have to be replaced because they are original, and you can tell they're original because they have that galvanized kind of look to them. And if they just look like they're metal, they're original. So those have to go. You need a light in here. Wallpaper needs to go because that shit is hideous. Repaint this room, ceiling fan, doorknobs, windows, carpet. The entire, I can tell you now, even the flooring has to go. This entire restroom needs to be remodeled. Yeah, that's got to go too. Entire restroom needs a remodel. That doesn't look too bad, actually. Yeah, the water heater doesn't look too bad. I will say, though, it needs to be lifted up. It does need to be lifted up about 18 inches off the ground, so it's going to need like a stand. But that's about it there. I'm guessing this is supposed to be the shower. It needs a remodel. Probably garage. Yep. So it's not terrible. It just needs to be cleaned out and prettied up. That's all. All this shit has to go. Fence is leaning over here, so we're probably going to need to replace the fence. Probably going to need to replace the fence back there and the fence right here, because it doesn't make sense to have a chain link fence here and a wooden fence here. It's just it's not very pretty, so that's got to go. Soffit needs to be replaced. Okay, definitely HVAC. Definitely needs an HVAC. That's the condenser. That's terrible. Okay, more of the backyard. Yeah, look at that. That's so bad. Okay. Yeah, windows need to be replaced. Yeah. Oh, go back. Here we go. Look at that. Ta-da. Let me see if I can zoom into that. Okay. Two. This right here is called a corner pop. So anytime you see part of the foundation missing like this, that is a corner pop. That is a clear indication that there is foundation movement. And sometimes you'll see where it's like the concrete is still attached. It's just got cracks going up this side and cracks going up the other side. But it is still a corner pop. So there's definitely foundation activity. So when you're walking a property and you see that, you want to point it out and ask them if there's been any foundation repairs done in the past. If they say yes, you want to ask how many piers were put in place. Well, how many piers did you have, placed on the property to stabilize it? And then you want to find out if they have a transferable foundation warranty, because that is also going to play a really big part as well. Okay. All right. So go back out. Cool beans. So far, all the hype. Go again. Say again.
On those transferable warranties, we ran into a deal on a rehab, and they didn't honor the warranty because the customer never took care of like a water problem that they had.
Oh my gosh.
So just understand that just because they say it's a warranty, I would get it inspected before, as a flipper, but I guess as a wholesaler, just make sure you make note of that you can try to sell it with a transferable warranty, but it might not actually be as good as you think it is.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, man. That's really shitty too, honestly. That's really bad. And on the standpoint of like, when you're looking at a property like this as a flip, you always want to get an inspection done on every single property. Every single one of them. Do you need to do that as a wholesaler? No, you don't. But if you're flipping the property, yes, you want to be as diligent as possible. So you can never be too diligent on a flip. Okay. All right. So far, yeah, this whole room needs to be redone. Yep. Okay. Ceiling fans, outlets, windows, door handles. You had the closet doors here. Those are probably gonna have to go. It's probably gonna need a new door as well, because it's same thing here. And then I don't know where the hell this goes. That's actually kind of creepy. You got a random door in a closet. I guess it goes to Narnia. I have no idea. It's weird. Okay. Lights got to go. That can totally go. I'll get rid of that, or replace it, or make it look prettier. Yeah, so for the most part, like, this is a pretty cookie cutter deal. Just needs full cosmetics. Like, the entire property needs full cosmetics. It needs a new roof, needs foundation, needs HVAC. It's probably going to need a furnace. It's probably, I don't know where the electrical is, so I didn't see electrical panels in any of the rooms. So I think the electrical is going to be okay. It's going to need new, just full cosmetics. I think the only thing here that's actually in decent condition is that water heater, and that's really about it. Everything else it's going to need. So with that, full renovation in the restroom. So with that, that's so ugly. So here, with this information and these photos, I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think is the estimated rehab on this?
I'm thinking, is it worth doing rehab?
I was thinking more like 85, 90.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the roof and foundation for sure in that ballpark.
85, 90. Anybody else?
How big is it? 12 something?
Yeah. It's 1,200.
I'd say a good 75.
Okay.
I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, my guess was going to be around 75 as well.
About 75.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing.
Okay.
I didn't know the square footage. I kept cutting out though.
All right. Anybody else?
I was on 85 here already.
85. Okay, so we've got some 85s, some 90s, 70s, 75s. Okay. Let's see. Lewis, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, like I would say, I don't know. I mean, close to 92.
Okay.
It feels like the whole house needs to be taken down.
No, I love it. So for the most part, you can never really be over budgeted. I mean, you can, but you can never be. It's always better to have a higher estimated cost for your rehab than it is to be significantly lower, right? So, when looking at this one, I would put estimated rehab at about 75, 80 on the high end. So for the most part, I think everybody's in like the same ballpark. Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much in the same ballpark for this one. So even though it's only 1,200 square feet, it needs
No. I won that. I won. I said 80.
I said 75.
I won. Everybody was saying 75.
Price is right rules. Price is right rules. She wins.
No, I love it. But yeah, so you can never be like, I don't know. It's always better to be, conservative on your rehab and kind of be a little high on your rehab than it is to be under. So rule of thumb is you want to be conservative with your ARV, and you want to be a little high with your rehab, because your profit is not made when you sell the property. Your profit is made when you buy the property. It's all about how you buy a property. That's what determines how much you make. Now, the wholesaler that has this is pitching it for 100 and what does he want for? He wants 170. He wants $170,000. Okay. So this is a flip calculator that is in the community, so you all have it. So I've already got numbers here, but let's say we give him the 170. Okay. ARV 260 on the high end, 4 months for the flip, 170 grand. Gap funding, if there's any gap funding at all, you're looking at about $3,120 for about 12% for about 4 months. So it's got all the costs associated with it. So let's do 75. Okay, so we got 75 in. Actually, let's do, 75 is good. So we got 75. This is going to account for all the holding fees. Let's see, is this the right property tax? What does property tax look like? 5239. Yeah, that's right. 5239. Cool. This is if we were to buy the property for 170 grand. How much could we make with $75,000 in repair plus all the costs for holding? Nothing. You would lose about $16,000 on this flip. Does that sound profitable to anybody? No, right? It just doesn't work. So what would we actually have to be at to make this work as a realistic number? I threw out 115.
I got 103 if it was on a 255. But I did it at a 0.7 because of where it is. I didn't do it on 7.5.
That's good. Running it at 0.7 is really good. So if you're throwing it into the flip calculator, if you do a 115, you're at 42,514.87, right? That's your potential profits. Now, what if you don't have this calculator in front of you and you need to figure out, okay, what is going to be my maximum allowable offer? You're going to do essentially what Savannah just did, as soon as I can pull up a calculator. There we go. Any second now. There we go. I just waiting for the moment.
I based mine off of 255. I got 103.5. But if I did it on a 260, I got 107.
Okay.
When you say that, those numbers, like, what do you mean, Savannah? Like,
okay. So you have ARV, conservative ARV is 255. In rural areas or areas on the outskirts of DFW or any major metroplex that you're in, you want to be more conservative with the ARV, and you want to be a little bit higher with your rehab, right? So when we look at this and, oh shit, wrong button. Oh, where'd my calculator go? So in areas like this, again, you want to be conservative with that ARV and a little bit high on the budget, right? So how do you run quick numbers? Well, here's how you do it. Here we go. Perfect. So 255 is our ARV conservative. Because this is on the outskirts of DFW, we want to be conservative with our percentage. So we're going to run this at a 0.7%. So what this means is this is going to give us 30% of equity to play with. Okay. It's 30% of $255,000 to play with. Okay. That's where the profit is made. Again, you make your profits when you buy a property, not when you sell. So we're going to run it at 0.7. That gives us $178,500. Okay. Now from here, we want to take off our estimated repairs. So we'll do 75. That brings you to $103,500. That is where we're at. Okay. That is our maximum allowable offer. So if we were to pick this up and rehab it ourselves, that would be the absolute most I would offer him on quick numbers if I didn't have time to throw it into the flip calculator. This is what I would throw it in at. Like, this is how I would underwrite it. Because if we underwrite it this way, let's say we offer the 103,500. Oh, darn. If we offer the 103,500, what does our profit look like? Our profit is 50%. That is going to be about 20% of equity that we're making on the flip. Okay, so this ensures that we make a profit, and that's what's really important. So when you run it at 0.7 or 0.75 or even 0.8, it's ensuring, it's quick math. That's all it is. It is quick math to ensure that you're able to make a profit if you come in at your maximum allowable offer. But you do not want to pass or offer more than this number. Because if you offer more than this number, if you're doing quick math, if you offer more, it's going to bring your overall estimated profit down. There's a big difference between 50 grand. Damn, it's the second time I've done that. A big difference between 50 grand and 37 grand, right? So the more conservative you could be, the better off, because you're going to make more at the end of the day. So this is your maximum allowable offer if you're rehabbing it. Now, if you're a wholesaler, what this means is you cannot offer the seller that amount of money, because there's no room for you to make an assignment fee. So what you have to do is take off, let's say you want to make $15,000 for the assignment fee. That brings you to $88,500. But you want to have room to negotiate. So take off another $5,000 for a little bit of a cushion for negotiations. That brings your offer to the seller to $83,500. And the reason you want to do it like this is because if you're able to lock the deal up for $83,500, you can then assign the deal to the end buyer for the $103,500. And this is going to ensure that they're still able to make a good profit on their end of the deal. So you're taking care of them, you're making money, and the seller's getting paid for their property. So everybody wins. That's how you calculate that offer. So in a nutshell, what does that mean? It means this. Let's go to our jam board. I really do like jam boards. They be jamming. Get it? Knee slapper. Okay, let's see here. All right, jam board. Where's our jam board? There, boom. Okay, cool. So, ta-da. Okay, cool beans. Calculating offers. And if I misspell things, please don't make fun of me. Actually, go ahead, roast me. It's okay. All right, so here's what it looks like for my visuals. So ARV 255. Estimated repairs 75K. Okay. Percentage is going to be 70%. There we go. Now, what this looks like broken down is like this. You have 255 times 0.7, and that is going to equal, oh shoot, what does it equal? $178,500. Okay. You're then going to take $178,500 and you're going to take off $75,000. That is going to equal $103,500. So what does that mean? That means your maximum allowable offer equals $103,500. Okay. Now, your offer to the seller for a 20K assignment is how much? All right.
3.
Savannah, don't answer it. Don't answer it. All right.
Oh, so bad. Sorry.
You're fine. You know, let's make it harder. Let's do. No, that's too easy. Let's do 13. If somebody wanted to make a 13K assignment, what would you offer?
87.
Damn, man, I suck at. Hold on.
Yeah.
Minus 13.
Oh, 90.
9,500. 9,500. But shoot, I wouldn't mind offering 87. That's 16K, dude. Let's do it. Let's go. Right. So that's what you would offer. If you wanted to make a 13K assignment, you would offer 9,500. That's where your offer will come in at. Does that make sense for everybody?
So on mine, just like whenever I'm figuring out my assignment, I start mine assignment higher so that I have room to work. So
Ah.
like, let's see, I'm going to start my assignment K at 30K, right? That gives me, if I don't want to go under 20K on my assignment, that gives me a 10K to play with the seller.
100%. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody tracking that?
Got it.
Yeah. What do you think that the person that brought you this deal is like going so high? Do they suck at just comping and then he gave you like that 170 thing, or did he just suck at underwriting and therefore he needs to go high? That way he can make something, you know?
Right. So in this case, because I asked him, that was a great question. That was a really great question. Because I asked him the same thing, and I said, I was just curious, man. Like, what do you have ARV at? Because I'm pulling 255, but I might be wrong. I know I'm not fucking wrong, but I might be wrong, And he comes in and he told me he had 275, 285. And that is extremely high because when we go and look at our comps, dude, you got two new builds that are barely clearing the 275 range. So it's like, how can our property that is almost 40 years old go for the same amount as a new build? It's just the likelihood of it happening is very slim, right? So these are not comparable properties because they're new builds. There's no comparison, man. Like you can't that's like comparing. It's like comparing an apple to a fucking pecan. It doesn't make sense, So you don't do it. Just but that's kind of where because I'm able to see like that's where he got his numbers from. But it's just too high, man. So yeah, there's just no way that that's going to happen. And basically what I ended up doing is, and I'm very straightforward, right? So I pretty much told him, actually, look, I had my VP of dispositions run it and give me his feedback on it. And I took a screenshot of his feedback, sent it over to him, sent him over our proof of funds, sent him over a snapshot of this as well and the map. And I even sent him a snapshot of what the numbers look like and a calculator. It's like, dude, there's just no way that this is going to work at your numbers because we're going to be negative. It's like, this is where we need to be at in order for us to actually make this kind of work. So now we're on, now we're trying to establish a non-exclusive joint venture. So basically going to try to help him move the deal, but he is going to have to go back and renegotiate because his numbers are way too high. It's just not going to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, is it the first time that you do business with this person?
Yeah, this would be the first.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
This here, go ahead.
When that happens and now that person has to go and renegotiate with a seller, I'm guessing that probably gonna rub some feathers because the seller was like, oh, made up his mind with this offer that they settled on, and now he might just kind of just call off the whole thing. No, I mean, how does that usually play out?
100%. So it kind of tackles kind of what I was about to get into, man. This whole process right here is probably one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. If you do not properly underwrite a deal, you are going to shoot yourself in the foot later on down the road. Like anybody could lock up a contract for sure, but if your numbers are trash, you're not going to be able to move it. And if you have to go back and ask for a significant reduction, you look like an asshole. And when you look like an asshole, you just fell back on every single promise that you just made to these sellers. You just shat on all their hopes and their dreams, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get a reduction on it because all of your credibility flies out the window the moment you hit them with a massive reduction. So it's extremely important to properly underwrite the deal beforehand, making sure your numbers are solid, making sure your numbers are good. So that way, when it goes to getting it, the dispositions process, it's easier to do, and you don't have to come back and ask for these massive reductions. So do you have to have a reduction every now and then? Yeah, you do. Like, for example, Savannah and I, when we have first initially started working together, training and talking and whatnot, what was it, 2 weeks? 2 weeks in working together, we got that deal on Austin?
No, it wasn't even 2 weeks. It was like maybe a little over a week.
So a little over a week of working together, we got a deal under contract. And we thought it was going to be a banger of a deal. Like, well, I won't say a banger of a deal, but we thought it was going to be a deal, you know? But it turned out that the city of Fort Worth is a bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to the historical districts, and they're very strict on their design guidelines when it comes to flipping their properties. And so what does that do for us? That basically allows us, or that doesn't allow us, it causes us to have to come back to the sellers and ask for a reduction because it about doubled the price of the renovation. And when we went back for that reduction, well, they weren't very happy about it, and we lost the deal. But had we been diligent beforehand, and again, this really kind of falls on me, had I been super diligent beforehand, that whole thing probably could have been avoided. But it's also a learning lesson because that was something I was unaware of. So, you know, it's one of those things that you learn. So it's not crazy. It's a learning lesson. All right. Now, here we go. Let's run this one. Savannah just sent me. We're going to run together. Take a look. We're going to do it on video.
When a seller calls off a deal like that, you have what do you mean, Savannah, by that?
Say again?
No, I just saw Savannah put something in the chat and it kind of distracted me from my. But what I was gonna ask is, when a seller calls off a deal like that, and you know, kind of ends in that bad sort of situation, do you like you don't even try like later on the road? Or I mean, at that point, that person is just better left alone because they just might get annoyed by you or something, or you know, because at the end of the day, they were interested at first, so it's just like, is it not worth it to go back and sort of like talk? Or I'm just wondering like how you handle those. Like, do you just kind of let them go and just whatever and move on, or do you try anything else?
Do not hate me, but everything that you just asked, I missed all of it because I got distracted by the chat, and I love that you and Savannah are like going back and forth, and she's bringing you up to speed on everything. That is awesome. So, okay. How cool is that, Savannah? You're a killer. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, bro. I'm so sorry. Say it one more time.
So yeah, like, I guess like when a seller ends, when you end in a deal like that with a seller that you have to just call it off. I mean, they were interested in selling. Now it's just that, you know, let's say they were at 100 and now they're at 80 because that happened. I guess in your experience, like most of the time, it's just better to just let it be and move on, or like do you try like later on? Because I mean, they were interested at the end of the day. So just wondering, like, you know, it's just not worth it. There's just more deals out there, and then move on, or what do you think?
It can go both ways. So first off, I will say this: you never want to be attached to a deal. Never attach yourself to a deal because deals fall through, man. Not every single one of them is going to make it to the closing table. Something can always pop up. You can run into title issues. The seller can get cold feet. Your buyer can back out. Like, there's a bunch of shit that can happen that's completely out of your control. So never be attached to a deal. And always, always, always detach yourself from the sale and providing a service. Okay. If you're attached to the sale, your prospect or the seller is going to feel it. They will feel that, right? Like, they will inevitably feel it. So always detach yourself from the sale, because when you do that, you're not focused on making the sale. You're not focused on getting the deal under contract. You're focused on providing a service. And that's where your mentality needs to be. But when you come back for a reduction and it doesn't work out, at the end of the day, you want to keep in mind what is really in the best interest of the seller. If the seller, and of course, they're not going to like it at all. They're going to get emotional. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to get angry. They're going to be upset. It's inevitable. I've never, not once in my life, have I done any renegotiation where the seller was happy. Why the hell would they be happy? You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So you got to have the correct mindset going into it. Like, man, this is bad news, and it sucks delivering bad news, but sometimes we have to. And so usually when I go in and I have to deliver bad news, I come out of the gate letting them know. I'd be like, man, Luce, bro, you're gonna hate me, but I don't have the greatest news. Here's what we ran into, and however you feel about it, I completely understand. Just let me know what you'd like to do as far as moving forward. Okay, and then you deliver the news. And at the end of it, when you deliver the news, you can say something along the lines of like, again, I understand if you hate me. I get it, but I guess, where do we go from here? And let them answer it. Like, let them answer that question. If they want to terminate the contract and they don't want to let it go for pennies on the dollar, cool. Terminate the contract, move on, and come back 2 weeks later and see how they're doing. Because you may be able to make up a little bit, right? Just come back 2-3 weeks later, see how they're doing. When you go back 2 weeks later, if they haven't moved the property and they still don't want to work with you, wait another week and a half, another 2 weeks. And if it's the same case, they still haven't moved the property and they don't want to work with you, reach out maybe, 3 weeks later, a month later, because it's going to be a follow-up game, right? It's going to be a long-term nurture. So don't always necessarily give up on it until they basically tell you to fuck off. They tell you to fuck off. It's like, all right, okay, I get it. I got you. So just tread it carefully, and you tread it carefully, but also be use discernment. Use discernment in your follow-up process, and just keep tabs, keep notes, keep tabs on the conversations that you're having with them. But don't necessarily just like let it go. Just come back around, when the time feels appropriate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so let's check out Gaston Avenue. Savannah, is this a condo?
You're gonna hate me, but I have absolutely no idea. So that is actually, I emailed those because those come from the agent. Remember I told you she was gonna send me some stuff?
Yeah.
That's one of them that because you just got it, right? I just emailed it to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just got it.
Yeah. So everything that they just sent is from them. So
Okay,
I don't even know how this is going to work.
Gaston Avenue. I know where this is at. I know this area. Yep. This is going to be a condo. Yep. This is a tricky area. So this area is a little weird. You've got some properties that are going for like $500,000. You got some properties that are going $500,000. Others at like $200,000. It's a weird area. Pretty simple. Pretty close. So a little tricky. But okay. So Propeller is not pulling up anything for this one. Interesting. Well, that's a first. No. All right. $46.23. Where is $46.23? Have I looked? I feel like I've seen.
So are those are condos you said, but that looks like a duplex, no?
Same
thing.
It's a mix. Some of them are going to be like quadplexes, duplexes. It's just a really weird mixture. Like this is I don't know if this is a duplex or a quadplex. So you got
That's 15. What is that? 5615. So you
So
may have
which-
to keep going
yeah.
down. No, you're going the wrong way.
Well, here's
Yeah.
4622.
It's 4623, not 45.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, dang it. On. This is 4607.
Keep going.
Oh, you know what? I have seen this fucking property because it's like right here.
That's 22. That's 4622. Oh,
Right
no,
here.
that's 23. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking. I'm telling you, it's weird. Like this is the door to it. Yeah, that's weird. It is a condo. Well, it's not a condo. It's more of it's actually it's an apartment. It's gonna be weird.
That is weird.
So they sent you an apartment, not the whole building. Like
The building. So the building itself is considered an apartment, but it's a condo within. It's a condo in the apartment, but the whole building itself is an apartment. Like the building.
One room, one bath.
It's a one bed, one bath, 500 square feet, so it's super tiny.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm gonna see if I can find something on Propelio that lets us do it. So we're gonna look at 46. So okay. Propelio's not pulling anything up on this one because it's a fucking weird property. So what I want to look at is like, okay, what is nearby?
You can always do the other one I sent you too.
Look at that. This looks like a good one. This is called, by the way, we're essentially doing virtual driving for dollars because we're looking at all the subdivision, everything that's around on Google Street View, right? Granted, the pictures are from 2020, but hell, I mean, you could always find this address and call them. It looks like it's 4619 Gaston Avenue. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, go on Propelio, see if we can find it. Boom. So we got 4619, right? So we know that 4619 is pretty close to our subject property. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way is because our subject property didn't pop up. So that's why I want to look at it. See, I told you guys, you got like shit from the 200s to the millions. It's a fucking weird area. Okay, so now we have an idea. Let's see.
What?
4623. Here's our building. This is where we're at. Okay. We know based off of the information provided, we're going to reduce this because there's so much activity going on. That's a lot of activity. So instead of doing a half mile, we want to look at it at a quarter mile. As soon as my computer responds.
The 4619, is that one, the red one you just showed?
I think it's going to be
That one? Because
this.
if you pull up 4619, oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say because that's something ain't right. Okay.
Yeah, this is what 40. This is 4619.
Okay.
Let's see. So we're at a half mile. We're gonna go reduce quarter mile, and let's do 3 months worth of data because this is a big clutter. I want to reduce this as much as I can for now. Okay, now going through, we have. How would you figure out? I mean, they sent us an email that lets us know the bed, bath count, and all that good stuff. But how could we figure out what the actual bed and bath count is of this building itself? So a good way to do it is we could take the property address, the subject property address, not this. You can take 4623 Gaston Avenue, apartment 7. We're going to go back to our Google search. We're going to enter it. Apartment 7. Boom. So we're going to look at Zillow. What does Zillow tell us it is? It's a 1-bed, 1-bath, 573 square feet, and it is pretty damn accurate. So looking at the side-by-side comparisons to what's on tax record, it is accurate. So now we know that the comps we're looking for are 1-bed, 1-bath, 500 square feet. So we're going to go back to Propelio. Look at that. 1, 500, 500, 500, 500. We got 4 comps, and they're all in the same street. That's perfect. So let's look at 4502. 330 days on market. That is fucking horrendous. Gosh, that sucks. And it just sold. It was listed for 87, sold for 65. So right off the bat, I can tell you our fucking ARV is probably going to be pretty close to the 65. That is awful. Okay. I love it. There's so many photos. It's great. This is a terrible agent, which is probably why it took so long to sell, is because they don't have any really good photos. Let's see, Fusion. Okay. Yeah. Love it. Okay. So we can use that to go on. Okay. What else do we got? We got this one here. How does this one look? All right. 83 days on market. So in this area, we got a lot of high days on market. People were listing around 80, selling closer to that 65, 76 range. This one just sold back in March. So I'm going to give that a thumbs up. Okay. Again, these people suck with photos, but it's turnkey. So you can run with it. What's another one? Yes. 4502. Looks like they're all from the Gastonian. This one sold for. Yeah, this agent is garbage. Hiroki. Sorry, bro. I just called you out. So if you ever see my YouTube video, just do better on your photos, dog. But yeah, so 71. And the bad thing about this is like a lot of these condos really set the pace for pretty much every other condo as far as the ARV goes in this area. So Hiroshi, that's not his name. That's not his name at all. But that dude basically kind of screwed everybody that's got a condo in this area. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Now let's check these out. Okay, maybe William did a little bit better. Well, William gave us 11 photos. This is nicer. See, good job, William. I'm proud of you. But again, 349 days on market, sold for 80 grand. It's turnkey. Please be William. I like William. Nope, this is not William. All right. Damn, this dude sucks. $64,000, 330 days. See, this is the biggest difference that photos make. You got 330 days versus 80 days. Come on. All right. Now, out of these, it kind of gives us an idea as to like what is, I guess, realistic. Well, actually, now this Williams sat on for 349 days. Oof. Yeah, that's oof. Okay. So what does this tell us? It tells us that we could definitely expect high days on market for sure. At a minimum, you're looking at maybe 80 days. I would say average, you're looking at about 330 days. That's pretty bad. As far as your sales price goes, I can't really justify anything over, let's see, 84, that's 80, that's 64. This sold last month. This sold February. Last month. Damn, he really did fuck everybody. Oh, man. Okay. So you got 64, 76, 71, 80, 64. I would put it at 70. I'd put ARV conservative at 70K for this property. So if you were to come in and buy the property, I mean, you're gonna have to be lower than 70 grand. There's just no way it's gonna work. Their asking price is $79,000, so they're pretty much asking for retail. And this property is not in as good as condition or as turnkey as these properties here. So I think 79 is going to be too high for it. I would put ARV at 70 for sure. Does that make sense to everybody?
I sent you another
Got
one.
it.
That one looks like it'll be a little better.
Okay. All right.
And what was what made you think about this, Savannah? Like this one, like what were you thinking to do with it?
I didn't. I actually had an agent bring it to me. It was an off market and she just sent it to me.
Oh, and you just wanted to like look at it as a group? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a really great example because one, we ran into several problems. One, we couldn't find the actual address in Propelio.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of figure out how to get around that. And again, all we did is we went to Google search, did our drive around, found a property right next to it, threw that property, 4619, threw it into the search. That brought up all the comps in the area. And then we took our property address, threw it into Zillow to find out the bed bath count square footage. And that is what allowed us to essentially properly comp what we were looking for to figure out where we needed to be. So it's not a bad example. I'm curious to see what properties is on the market for. You got 85, 75, 85, 89, 82. And look at this, 450 days, 496 days, 450 days. Like, damn, dude, when are you going to take a damn hint that your property is listed too high? This is terrible. Yeah, that's so bad. Okay. So, with that, honestly, I think 70K is even high. I think 70K is too high. I would list this at 60 grand because you got these properties that are just sitting. That's so bad. 450 days, dude. This is Williams. 450. It's turnkey. 450 days. Yeah, except for that bubbling. That's pretty bad. Yeah, I'd really put ARV 55, 60. I'd list it at 55, 60 just to get the damn thing moved. That's where I would put it at. So that's how that one looks. Okay, let's find another one. Okay. Ooh, Richardson. I like Richardson. Okay, so on this one. Where's my? Oh, there it is. Okay, turn that off. Okay, Richardson. All right, let's check it out. So, 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage, almost 1,600 square foot. It's basically 1,600 square feet. Built in 72.
I think this might be a good one.
I think you might be right. So I wouldn't look at anything past Beltline because that's probably going to be an entirely different subdivision. So let's bring this down to a quarter mile. We can keep it 6 months worth of data because we still got a good amount of data. You can. I would very conservatively look at these properties because again, it is a different subdivision, most likely. So, and it looks like this might be a major street. So anything across a major street, you want to avoid as much as possible if you can. If you can't, take it with a grain of salt. Anything like Beltline is definitely a major street. So if you can avoid crossing over that, then do so. Other things to avoid are highways. If you have a property over here, you don't want to comp shit over here. That is a big mistake a lot of agents make. They will go out a full mile. This is what an agent will look at. They'll go out a full mile. Actually, I can show you exactly what an agent will look at. They'll do this. They'll do 4 beds. They'll do 2 baths. Their square footage. This is how agents comp. 16, 14 would be 12. So it'd be 1, 2. No, it'd be, I'm sorry. It'd be 11, 99 to 1999. Year build 72, 1982. No, sorry, 7. 1967. Okay. This is the criteria that a real estate agent will use to comp. This is why agents' comps are trash, garbage. They're so bad. Look at this. It's just a big cluster. Now, when we search this, let's see what it does. Okay, so an agent will look at all of this information here to determine what the average price per square foot is in this area. They will take that average price per square foot, multiply it by the subject property's square footage, and that is how they get their market value. It is the worst way you could possibly comp a property. As why they still teach this to agents, I have no idea, but it is garbage. Don't do it. So get rid of all this shit. You don't want to have a strict criteria. You don't want to go out a mile. The closer you can stay to the subject property, the stronger your comps will be. I do not understand why that is a concept that is so hard to understand. But
Because they're not taught flat out.
they're taught. They're just taught wrong. Taught wrong. So we got 355, 369, 365, 330, 365. So a lot of this, without really kind of diving into it, is around that 355, 360 range, right? Except for this one, 330. But the majority of it is around that 350 range. This one sold back in February for 7 days. Like all this is original. Yeah, this is all original. So this is not an ARV comp. Okay. It's got some updating, but not the best. A lot of original pieces. I wouldn't consider this an ARV comp. Just well maintained as is, updated property. Same thing with this one. It's well maintained. It's updated, but it's not an ARV comp. And same thing here. So all these comps that we're looking at right now, none of them are truly ARV. They've just been updated here and there, and and they've been well maintained. That's really about it. Same thing here. Same exact thing. So are these true ARV comps? No, these are more as is comps if the property is well maintained with a little bit of updating. That's all it really is. So it's not too crazy. Let's go back 9 months because I want to see if there are ARV comps in the area. For this particular subdivision, not really.
I would just do 12 months, honestly.
Spring Ridge. Let's see. You got this one. Oh, no, we looked at that one. Is it this one? No, we looked at that one too. No, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them. 335. Oh, look at that. No, I was lied. I was misled. Okay, yeah, this is all original too. Just updated. A slight updates here and there. Well maintained, not crazy. That one for 335. So right off the bat, I know if we were to throw it on the market as is, we could at least expect 360. 369, 365, 365, 355, 360 is a good range. Even when we don't have full ARV comps, 360 is still a good range to kind of go off of. And if we're to look at stuff across the street, you can already see the different architecture. They just got different elevations. So this is ARV. And so for 360, 27 days on market back in September. This one's 365. Okay, so you got more flips over here on this side, which is a little weird. But you got more flips over here on this side. That's 3 days on market. So if we flip the property, we know we can at least expect a smaller day on market. So that's good, right? And hell, even if we listed it at 360 on the other side, like if we listed at 360 over here, there's a good probability that we're going to be able to get it moved or that it's going to sell, because you got these that are going for about 360 as well. Yeah, same. There's a lot more flip activity on this side. That's really weird. I wonder why that is. Okay, that one for 350. Yeah. So I would put ARV on this one at 360 for sure. So 4-bed, 2-bath. What is this? Actually, let's go down and look. Okay, 1970, 1938. It is bigger. It's sold for 330. Oh, this is the one that's all original. Okay. There's another one, 1500, super comparable property. 49 days on market, sold for 355. Interesting. Yeah. So if this sold for 355, I'd be pretty damn confident with the 360 ARV for sure. It's extremely comparable. This one has a smaller bed bath count because it's a 3-2, not a 4-2, but the square footage is roughly the same. So if an investor really wanted to squeeze as much as they could convert it, add another bedroom. So we can look at this one as a comp, but potential comp, because the square footage and your build are fairly the same and ours is bigger. 27 days on market, sold for 382.5. This is the one that's across the street. Yeah, this is the one that is across the street. That was flipped completely. But it's a different subdivision. So you can look at it, but again, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Same thing here, C350. Yeah, okay. 350. So yeah, I think 360 is like really right on the money. This is in the same subdivision. It's a 4-2. This is extremely comparable. It's listed at 365, 17 days on market. Yeah. So I think this one might be a little bit too high. I probably would have listed at like 355. But I think 360 would be a good ARV, really. It's conservative. I think you can get more for sure, but there's just not a lot in this area particularly that really supports a higher ARV. You've got this one listed at 510. Good luck. And peace be with you. For sure. This is going to be a hard one. Yeah, that's going to be tough. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Because you're asking for 200 grand more, it's like, I don't know. So that's going to sit for a while, I feel. But I think 360 is going to be pretty solid. So let's run some numbers on it. We have, okay, what do we have here? So we got roof is in good condition. These are their notes. Roof's in good condition. HVAC is newer. Foundation walks flat. Okie doke. That's cool beans. And property photos. Oh, fuck. All right, so I'm bringing this over so y'all can see the photos. Okay. It does look like a newer condenser. It just needs like to be cleaned up around it for sure. That all needs to be cleaned up. So definitely need a full remodel of the kitchen. I don't know why in the hell they have 2 ceiling fans here. I've never seen that before. That's a new one. Okay. Yeah. So needs full cosmetics for sure. Kitchen for sure. Both bathrooms for sure. Flooring, light fixtures, paint, the whole shebang. It needs everything. Yeah. This is new. That's good. Yeah, but other than that, it needs everything. So the high ticket items look like they're okay. I don't know how the water heater is, and since there's no photos of it, I would just go ahead and budget it just in case. Roof tills look all right. Full cosmetics. The property is how big? 1,500 square feet. So, okay. Property is 1,500 square feet. Here are the items we need replaced. Oops, darn. There we go. So full cosmetics for sure. Full cosmetics for sure.
1,600. Isn't it?
You said what?
Isn't it 1,600? Yeah, 1,600 square foot.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's like 1,599 or something.
Yeah.
1,600 full cosmetics. Or the high ticket items, water heater.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still consider foundation. The reason I would budget for foundation is because we're in Texas. We are in Texas. Texas soil is like the worst. I've got our house here is brand new. It's a brand new build, but it's already shifting. So, like, budget for the foundation because just about every single property here is going to need some type of foundation work. So just budget it in case. So let's do that. So full cosmetics, water heater, foundation for sure. What do y'all think is going to be the cost of renovation for this? Oh, and landscaping. Definitely. What do y'all?
I think
47.
47?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If we're playing prices right, I'll go $1.
You said what?
I said if we're playing prices right, I go $1.
Okay. Anybody else?
said
For I'm
50.
going to say 60, just to be conservative.
Okay. Blake,
50.
what do you think? Who's at 50?
Me, Luis?
I'm gonna go a little closer
I'm
to
sorry,
60 because adding the landscape.
Okay.
Still think that's kind of high though. I'm gonna go 55. Yeah.
55. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. I think I would really probably have to agree with Dre on this one. 55 for sure. That's about where I'd be at. So it's got roof is good. So roof is good, HVAC is good. These are probably going to be the two biggest highest ticket items for the most part. And landscape needs to be considered. Landscaping can be costly, but it's going to need a full renovation. For the most part, it's really a cookie cutter reno. If you just remove all this junk, because it looks worse than what it actually is. If you remove all of this junk, all this trash out of here, it is not going to be that difficult of a renovation. It's really not. You're just pulling a bunch of shit up and putting a bunch of shit down. It's really all you're doing. Flooring. So you got the flooring, you got the bathrooms. Each bathroom is going to be maybe about $3,500. Your kitchen's going to be it's a smaller kitchen, so 10, 12. But I'd probably budget for the kitchen. All your miscellaneous shit, so like all the ceiling fans, door handles, doors, the outlet socket covers, all that stuff, it adds up, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. So I'd probably put like maybe $7,500 for that, maybe 10. Flooring, paint, interior, exterior, the landscaping. This looks good. The furnace looks good. So I would say for the most part, you've got water heater potentially, and potentially foundation. So you've got two somewhat high ticket items. So I'd put 55, 60 for the reno for sure. I think that'd be a pretty safe number.
Do you ever think of these in terms of like price per square feet? So like, like let's say 30
Nope.
bucks. No,
No,
that's not.
Some people will, man. Like some people will, but think about it like this. So we have a property we're flipping right now that's 1,100 square feet. Okay, not 11,000. Good God, 1,100 square feet, and built in I think it's 1960 on the dot. 1960 on the dot. It needed a new roof. It needed plumbing. It needed it needed roof, plumbing. I think slight foundation and full cosmetics. How much do you think that would run on an 1,100 square foot house?
Roof, plumbing, foundation, cosmetics. I'm like around 40, 30 something, maybe.
We had our budget for about 65.
Oh damn. Okay, I was way off.
And the flip is the flip itself is going to be running closer to 87.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
we were about 20K off. And what really bit us in the ass was some things that were kind of unknown. So we didn't initially plan for we didn't initially plan for the plumbing. The plumbing is really kind of like what threw shit off, really. And so when we started pulling stuff up, we found out that it was cast iron plumbing. Cast iron plumbing is a big no-no. At least now it is. So we ended up having to redo the entire plumbing. We redid the roof. We have to add on to it. We got to convert the garage to try to get a little bit more out for the ARV. So there's just a lot that really kind of goes into it, man. So if you're to do price per square foot, so if you're doing $1,100, and you're doing that divided by 65,000, is that math right? I don't think that's
the opposite. So 65.
Yes.
Yeah. 59, 60.
Oh, fuck me, dude. My math sucks. What was it?
It's like 59, almost 60, basically.
Like $60 a square foot, right?
Yeah, which is pretty high. Oh, it sounds pretty high.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you. So it's about $60 a square foot, but it's costing us 87 grand, right? So what is that really? That's like what, $87 a square foot?
Probably. Let's see.
It's like a $20.
Yeah, $80 a square feet if you do the actual.
Yeah, it's a $20 difference in the square footage. So that's why we don't really base off of price per square foot per se. Now you can base like your painting, your flooring, stuff like that off of the square footage, because that is going to be depicted by square footage. But as far as everything else, though, I wouldn't really do it. I would use simple math, man. Like a small kitchen, 10, 12,000 for renovation. Medium, 12, 15,000. Large, 15, 20,000. So looking at stuff like that, half bath, maybe $3,500. Full bath, if it's a big, let's say it's a medium size, like, or small size, you're looking at 5,000. Medium, you're looking at maybe 5,000. It's about 6,500, 7,000. And a big one, you're looking at like 7,500, maybe 9,500 for a massive bathroom. So it's just kind of hard to do that when you're doing like price per square foot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. Yep.
Sweet. I'm trying to show you all the address for the stamp flip, man, because I don't remember it off the top of my head. There it goes, 1303 and Patricio. So this is what it looks like. It's in a great area. San Patricio. That's the house. As soon as it loads.
Hey,
If
Terry, if you have time, put an address over in the chat if you have time to do it.
Sweet. Okay. So I'll this
It's
load.
okay.
Let's see. Okay. Wow, my whole computer is like going slower, super slow. Well, I do got like fucking 60 tabs open. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
It is, bro.
And
I'm not.
you use an Explorer, so even worse.
Okay, where's the chat? Chat. Chat. Okay.
How much was that one? Crazy.
We got it for 180.
Okay. Nice. And
Yeah,
what
we
was
got-
your? And then you said estimated ARV was like 60, but it's 80 now, so like 60 or so.
Converted with the converted garage is about 330. I think about 330, 335, 330, 335. I think is where we have it at.
Okay.
Without the garage, it's maybe 305, 310.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this isn't I can tell you now, this is a good area. I'd actually picked the property up right over here and wholesaled assigned it pretty quickly. So it's in a good spot. 2-1, 1,100 square feet, 40 build. Yes, let's do it. These are going to be, I can tell you now, all this, for the majority of it, is going to be your more of your elderly homeowners. So they're going to be a lot more likely to sell the property. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, this is a good area.
Wait, how do you know that? Do you just know the area?
Yeah, I know the area.
Okay, gotcha.
2-1, 1,100 square feet, 40 build. No comparable sales. Let's do 9 months before I go to 12. Let's go to 12 months. Okay, there we go. 2-1, 1,100 square feet. Yeah, there's nothing comparable as far as the bed bath count goes. So now what we want to look at is square footage in your build. So you got 1,300 square feet, but that's really big. 1,100, 3.2. So this is pretty comparable. And the reason I'm saying is because it's not that much bigger. It's 37 square feet bigger. And there's a probability that we could actually just add a bedroom on or convert a garage. And this is a doo-doo property. So this is definitely going to be an investor property for sure. Sold 11 days for $122,000 back in October. So, and it's fuggly. So even without us, really diving too far into it, it kind of lets me know, like, hey, if we pick this property up, we could probably push it out for 115 to 120 right off the bat, just because of this. So it's a pretty good indicator as to where we kind of need to be just by looking at it. Let's see if we can find some more. And that's really pretty much it. Let's see what's on market. Nothing. Great. All right. Cool beans. What else do we have that's close? This went for 270. It is significantly bigger. It is ARV. Very pretty. Did a great job, but it sat for 187 days. Listed at 275, sold at 270 back in February. So 270 is probably going to be way too high. But it's a good comp to look at because it's ARV. Your build is similar. It is bigger, and it does have a bigger bed bath. What does our property look like? That's garbage. But what does the subject property look like? Because we got to look at the construction type. Barbacore corn. Okay. So that comp was veneer. It was brick. This is definitely not brick. Okay. So for sure, just looks like an elderly couple. Looks like they've, like, I don't know. Looks like I guess a cool grandparents' home. I don't know, but definitely needs a new roof for sure. New fencing, 100%. Needs pavement in the driveway for sure. Landscaping a little bit, especially along the fence line over here. But we can't really compare it to the other property because this is not brick. That is paneling. So let's go back.
Would you do pavement like that? Seems like the other one next to it, in that side of the street looks like they don't have pavement, at least.
Right.
Yeah, but on the other side.
Yeah, so they don't have pavement either, but it's also a pretty bad looking property.
I thought you meant in the front, like like go back to the. Yeah, I thought you would do it here in the front. You mean the driveway?
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole paved into the driveway. 100%. Let's see. So let's see. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. Okay. Tricky. 40, 50. 1955, 1943. Damn. Okay. Interesting. It's a big difference between this area and this area.
There's a major highway there too.
What are new builds going for? So you got this 4.2, 349. What does this look like? Beautiful home. Okay, so new builds. And this sold January 349. What else do we got for a new build? 399, 4.2. It's 300 square feet bigger. Beautiful home. Yeah, very pretty. So new builds in the area going anywhere from 350 to about 4. Let's see what else we can find for a new build. Yeah, 350 to 4. Okay, so reason I want to look at this on new builds is because worst case scenario, since we don't have really good solid comp data, we could look at it as a potential tear down for lot value because there are new builds being built up over here. So that's something that you can consider as well. 350. Okay. And if you're looking at new builds, I probably price it at like 380 for the ARVs. So I was up by 0.2, 76 minus 12, 64,000. Sounds about right. 70, 74.9. Yeah, sounds about right. These are probably going to be developed into new builds.
And so this one you mentioned that'll be like you could consider for like tear down. You would just sell it like you would tear down and then sell the land, or you would just sell it like pass it forward just as is, and then the person would do the land thing.
If you're looking at it from like a tear down point of view, then you would just run the way you would run your numbers. This is how a developer would run their numbers. Because I know I ran through that. So if you're looking at 385 for your average sold price for the new properties, you're going to multiply that by 0.2. And that 0.2 is going to be 20%. 20% of the cost of acquisitions for the land alone when you're doing developments. So they run it at a 0.2, and then they're going to take off the cost for teardowns, which ranges between 10 to 12 grand. So we're going to take off $12,000. That's weird. That brings us to 65,000. So a developer would pick this property up for 65 grand. So for us, we want to be below the 65,000. Actually, we probably want to be below 60,000. So if we're to pick up as a lot or as land value, we would need to get it probably 45 to 50K. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, except it's land. So they don't do any they don't need to do any demolishes or tear downs. So that's why they're going for 70 to 75. But when looking on as far as the actual, like, just I guess ARV goes, it's really kind of weird. 1950 122, that's Daniel Dale. We looked at that one. It's really all we have to go off of. So if we were to look at Daniel at 122, and then you got this one here that went for 270 after it was flipped, 187 days on market. It is bigger bed and square footage, and also I think it's different. Yeah, this one. Maybe February. I would say probably 230 would be okay. And worst case scenario, if you run into something like this where it's really just difficult to comp like that, look at kind of what the Zestimate is. Zestimate has it at 206. So take 206, take off 60 grand for like rule of thumb. So you got 140. Take 60 grand off of it and offer that. So we'd be at like MAO be 146. Because realistically speaking, I think you're going to get more than the 206 for sure. So that's what
for this one. Will you just like obviously remodel it as is, or will you do like an addition or something in order to bring it to the high value that you mentioned?
Let's see, what's the square footage? 11. Let's go ahead and just stick 65, 75. I don't know, man. I'd probably come in at closer to like 90 on this. So this one's tricky. This is a tricky one. Yeah, this is definitely a tricky one. So yeah, I'd say I would say closer to 95 because I really don't think you're gonna get much more than 230 on this. Even with the Zillow, looking at it from Zillow's standpoint, taking off 60 grand. Because when you go back to flip it and you throw it back on market, in order for you to hit your like profit, you're gonna be for 230, and I just don't see it going for that much. So I think being closer to 90 grand for it is probably gonna be good as far as an offer. That's a weird one. It's a really weird spot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I would run that one. Does anybody have any other ones? That's weird.
I think I found one earlier. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
I can send you. So works. I was curious about this one. So yeah, let me send it in the chat. So if you open that link, we saw it the other day in Zillow, and it's in McKinney, and it's like a kind of like a storage district type of home, and it just went off the market, but it was on the market for like, I want to say, was it like almost 80 days or something like that? It was pretty a long time on the market, but you know, I guess you buy it through auction now. I just saw the description; it says auction or something. I didn't see that before. Oh, it was a closed property, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, I just saw it the other day, and as I was thinking, I'm like, then it's been sitting there for a while. And it looks like inside it, it's like maybe like an older person lives there because there's like a lot of just things inside and stuff. But I guess you can't see the pictures because it was just taken off the market. But maybe if you look it up.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah, that one's it's on the auction.
Dang.
I don't really know entirely too much about auctions. I kind of stay away from them. It's not really like my field of expertise, really.
Okay.
But I just had this one sent to me, so let's check it out real quick. Damn. Okay. Run on MLS because my phone is about to die. So this would be the last one for the night. Okay. Let's check it out. All right, I'm just going to run through this one real fast. This is going to be like real speed comping, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Here. Three, two. 3-3 ran into weird. Oof, that's horrendous. Okay. Looks like that was an addition added onto it. Yeah, that's so bad. 19, significantly smaller. Renovate. Okay. Days, 375. Okay, 375. No bueno. 48 days. Look how they came down $5,000. That's really nice. Okay. Put this one at 320. This one at 320. Nope. I don't know how they got 380 ARV. They are fucking.
Subject property is 4140 Roof Snow.
Roof Snow. Yeah.
It's got a big somebody just bought it. Or hold on. Somebody just got a loan on it in January.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. Let's see.
It's at a 6.95. The rent is $15.75 a month.
It's partially remodeled. They were trying to flip it and got in over their head. And now they're basically trying to move it because they're probably stuck in a hard money loan.
Yeah. No, it's conventional.
Oh, that's even worse.
They
Damn.
got 238,000 left on it.
Whew. That sucked.
Just FYI.
There we go. Yep. Okay. All right, cool. 320. 320's ARV. They got it at 380, but it's 320. Yep. Okay. So, actually, hold on. Still pretty solid with 220. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I'd stick with 320 ARV. Okay. Do y'all see how I got that? I know I can run through that one. No explanation. So for this one particularly, yeah, for this one particularly, 320, and easiest way to dumb this one down or simplify it. It's not really any good solid comps in the same subdivision of Hillview, that are actually really comparable that are ARV comps. Everything over here is like significantly lower. You got the one here pending, currently pending. It's bigger. It's been sitting for 109 days. It's a 3.2 pending at 320. But it was originally listed at 350, so they came down 30 grand. It is not pretty. And the likelihood of it selling for 320 is probably slim as well. But with it coming down $30,000, it got it into a pending, active under contract little area. Then you got this one here, 1,700 square feet. It's smaller, similar bed bath count, 20 days on market, listed at 320, and it's already active under contract. And it's similar construction type, right? Looks pretty similar to the subject property. Oh, damn. And it's ARV. It's really pretty. They did a good job. So, in a nutshell, basically what it means is if somebody was to come in, rehab it, flip it, they could list this property for 320, and with it being bigger, the subject property being bigger in square footage, they'll probably get more than 320, maybe, but it lets you know, like, hey, if you list at 320, you're gonna get a contract on it, and get it closer to that, to the closing table. So I would put ARV on this one at 320. I can't see anything above 320 at all because there's nothing in this area that's really sold in the same subdivision more than 320. So it just doesn't make sense. And I don't know how the hell they got 385 ARV or 380 ARV. It's insane. So, and they're asking for 270. So I'm gonna take this and send it over to him. But does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Does anybody have? I know that's a lot of information that we've covered, but does anybody have any questions?
No.
Not right now.
Sweet. Lewis, what do you think, man? Because I know it's a lot of information, bro.
Yeah, I wrote down a bunch.
Killer. Let me see. Hillview. Cool. Sweet. This coming Tuesday, for the upcoming trainings that we got going on. Steve, we're gonna hit your topic, bro. We're gonna knock out lead sources and different lead gen, different tactics for lead generation, and do a little bit of a deep dive into that.
Awesome.
So pretty stoked for it, man. Gonna try to put together a presentation for it and knock it out the park.
Awesome, man. Same time on Tuesday?
Yeah. It'll be at 6 p.m. and I should be on time.
I'll send out alert to the Slack too.
Awesome.
All right.
Alrighty. Other than that,
Thanks, man.
have a killer evening.
You
All
too.
right. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Later, y'all.
Take care, everyone.